Most people wake up each day only to repeat yesterday. They carry the same thoughts, the same emotions, and the same actions. That cycle traps them in the same results. The problem isn't lack of potential, it's the lack of daily habits that unlock that potential. Today, I'll show you 7 daily habits that can break that cycle and make you unstoppable. The first daily habit that will make you unstoppable is the habit of mental reprogramming. Every thought you think is like a command sent to the brain, and the brain obeys by wiring itself according to those commands. If you wake up in the morning and immediately think about your problems, your brain will automatically search for old patterns that match those problems, and you will begin the day as the same person you were yesterday. You are not living a new day. You are reliving an old memory. The mind is designed to follow the path of least resistance, which means it will always fall back into the familiar unless you take control of it. This is why so many people feel stuck in life. They are not really stuck. They are simply caught in a loop of thinking, feeling, and acting the same way over and over again. To break free from this cycle, you must begin the practice of mental reprogramming. When you consciously decide to interrupt the old stream of thoughts, you start to create space for new possibilities. The brain is not fixed, it is highly plastic, which means it can reorganize itself and form new connections. If you think a thought long enough, it becomes a belief. If you repeat a belief long enough, it becomes a program. And if that program is not serving you, it will quietly run your life without your awareness. The habit of mental reprogramming is about taking back the pen that writes your internal code. Each morning, before you reach for your phone or enter the chaos of the outside world, sit in stillness and observe your mind. Notice the automatic thoughts that surface. Thoughts about who you are, what you can or cannot do, what your day will look like. These thoughts are not truth. They are simply memories replaying themselves. The moment you recognize them as old recordings, you gain the freedom to choose something different, to truly reprogram the mind. You must introduce thoughts that are aligned with the future you want to live. Think of your mind as fertile soil. If you keep planting the same seeds, you will keep harvesting the same crops. But if you deliberately plant new seeds, thoughts of strength, abundance, creativity, love, you will begin to grow a different reality. This process is not about positive thinking in a shallow sense. It is about consistently rehearsing thoughts that match the life you want until your brain accepts them as real. Science shows that when you mentally rehearse a new skill, your brain activates the same neural pathways as if you were physically practicing it. This means your mind cannot tell the difference between imagination and experience. Use this to your advantage. Rehearse the thoughts of the future you until your brain wires them, as familiar mental reprogramming also requires awareness of language. The words you silently repeat to yourself become instructions to the subconscious. If your inner dialogue is filled with statements like, "I can't," "I'm not good enough," or "this is too hard," your brain will faithfully carry out those instructions. But if you shift that dialogue into words of possibility, I can learn. I am growing. I am capable. You send new orders to the subconscious. Over time, the brain begins to build the circuits of this new identity. It is not enough to simply think these thoughts once or twice. They must become your daily mental diet. Just as the body reflects the food you eat, the mind reflects the thoughts you feed it. The most powerful way to strengthen this habit is through morning mental rehearsal. Each day, set aside time to close your eyes and imagine yourself living as the person you want to become. Visualize yourself thinking confidently, speaking with clarity, acting with courage. Feel the emotions that come with that version of you: pride, gratitude, joy. As you hold this image in your mind, your brain begins to fire and wire as if it is already happening. If you repeat this process long enough, the brain will eventually replace the old wiring of limitation with new wiring of empowerment. At that point, you will no longer have to try to think new thoughts. They will flow automatically because they have become who you are. Mental reprogramming is not about denying reality. It is about creating a new reality. If you let the outer world control your inner world, you will always be a reflection of your environment. But if you master the inner world of thought, the outer world eventually reshapes itself to match it. Every invention, every breakthrough, every act of greatness first existed as a thought in someone's mind. That thought, rehearsed over and over, became a reality. You have the same power within you. The only difference between those who remain stuck and those who become unstoppable is the decision to use their mind consciously instead of unconsciously. The second daily habit that will make you unstoppable is the habit of emotional mastery. Every human being wakes up each day and steps immediately into a familiar emotional state. For some, it is stress. For others, it is anxiety. For many, it is frustration or worry. These emotions are not just feelings. They are powerful chemicals flooding the body, shaping behavior, and dictating decisions. The problem is that most people don't realize they are living as a prisoner of their emotions. They think the emotions they feel are caused by the outer world, by circumstances, by other people. But the truth is that emotions are created internally, and until you learn to master them, you will continue to be controlled by them. The body is highly intelligent, but when it becomes addicted to familiar emotions, it will keep pulling you back into the same states because it craves the chemical hit of those feelings. That is why someone who feels anger often will keep finding reasons to be angry, and someone who lives in fear will keep finding threats even when there are none. To develop emotional mastery, you must first become aware of the emotions that rule your day. Notice what you feel when you first wake up. Do you feel excited for the day, or do you feel the heaviness of stress? That moment is the doorway. If you immediately slip into the emotion of survival, you are already programming your body to live from the past. But if you choose to interrupt that automatic pattern, you create space to generate a new emotion. The body will resist at first because it is familiar with stress, fear, or frustration. It will want to return to what it knows. But this is where your conscious mind must lead instead of follow. Emotional mastery is the practice of no longer being enslaved to automatic feelings. It is the ability to regulate the inner world so deeply that no matter what is happening externally, you can remain in a state of balance, clarity, and strength. Breath is one of the most powerful tools to begin this process. When you feel overwhelmed, notice your breathing. In stress, the breath is shallow and rapid, sending signals to the brain that danger is near. But when you slow your breathing, deepen it, and make it rhythmic, you signal safety. The heart rate slows, the nervous system shifts, and the body calms. By practicing daily breath regulation, you train the body to follow the mind instead of dragging the mind into old emotional states. Another key practice is gratitude. Gratitude is not just a nice thought. It is a powerful emotional frequency that rewires the brain and body. When you truly feel gratitude, the body floods with chemicals of healing and balance. Gratitude tells the body that the future you want has already arrived, and this breaks the addiction to the old emotional states of lack or fear. Each day, spend time generating gratitude, not only for what you have, but also for what you want to experience as though it has already come to pass. Emotional mastery also means no longer identifying with emotions as if they are who you are. When you say, "I am angry," or "I am stressed," you are unconsciously fusing your identity with a temporary state. Instead, begin to see emotions as experiences moving through you. You are not stress, you are the one experiencing stress. You are not fear, you are the observer of fear. This shift in perspective creates a gap, and in that gap lies your power. The moment you stop identifying with emotions and start witnessing them, they lose their grip over you. The body may still crave the old feelings, but you no longer have to obey. This is true freedom, to choose how you feel instead of being at the mercy of your past programming. The habit of emotional mastery also requires practicing new emotional states daily until they become natural. If your body has memorized stress for 10 years, it will not forget overnight. But if you consistently rehearse calm, gratitude, joy, and inspiration, your body will eventually memorize those as well. It will wake up one day and automatically generate elevated emotions without you forcing them, simply because that has become your new normal. This is how transformation happens. Not in one big leap, but in the daily training of your emotional body. With time, the emotions of the past lose their power, and the emotions of your desired future become your baseline. When you achieve emotional mastery, you stop being predictable. Most people can be predicted because if you know what triggers them, you know exactly how they will respond. But when you can remain centered no matter what, when you can choose gratitude over stress, clarity over fear, inspiration over frustration, you become unpredictable. You are no longer reacting to life, you are creating it. This is why emotional mastery is one of the most important habits on the journey to becoming unstoppable. It is the bridge between thought and action, between mind and body, between who you were and who you are becoming. The third daily habit that will make you unstoppable is the habit of visualization. Your imagination is not some trivial escape or childlike fantasy. It is the most powerful creative tool you possess. Every invention, every breakthrough, every transformation that has ever happened in history was born in the invisible space of imagination before it manifested in the physical world. The challenge is that most people unknowingly use visualization against themselves. They imagine the worst outcomes, they rehearse failures, they project fear and scarcity into the future. When they do this consistently, their brain wires those possibilities as if they are already true, and their body reacts by generating the emotions of stress or fear. They are rehearsing a future they do not want, and by doing so, they are preparing themselves to live it. To break free from this destructive cycle, you must deliberately use visualization as a conscious, daily habit, rehearsing not what you fear, but what you desire to create. The brain cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you close your eyes and imagine yourself succeeding, speaking with confidence, acting with courage, or living in abundance, your neurons fire in the same patterns, as if you were actually experiencing those events. Over time, those neural pathways strengthen, and the brain records the imagined scenario as familiar. This means when the actual moment arises, your mind and body already know how to behave because you have rehearsed it. Athletes do this to win championships. Surgeons do this to refine complex procedures. Musicians do this to perfect their performances. You can do this to transform your life. Each morning, instead of rushing into the day, sit in stillness and paint the picture of the future you want to live. Do not only see it, feel it. The images alone are not enough. You must generate the emotion that corresponds to that vision so that your body believes it has already happened. When you visualize with intensity and emotion, you begin to send new signals to your brain and body. The brain organizes itself to reflect that new reality, and the body begins to align chemically with it. If you imagine yourself calm, successful, loved, or abundant, and you feel gratitude and joy in the process, your body releases the same chemicals it would if those conditions were physically real. You are teaching your body to live in the future instead of the past. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, your mind and body no longer crave the old emotional states of stress or fear because they have memorized the elevated emotions of your vision. At that point, you are no longer waiting for the external world to change before you feel different. You are changing your inner world first, and the external must follow. Visualization is also powerful because it reshapes identity. Most people live as the same person every day because they are visualizing unconsciously. They wake up and replay the images of the past, memories of mistakes, regrets, or disappointments. The subconscious mind takes those images as instructions, and the person ends up recreating the same life. But when you deliberately rehearse the future you desire, you begin to shift your sense of self. You are no longer the person who failed. You are the person who is becoming. This shift in identity is the true power of visualization. It teaches the mind and body to expect a new reality. An expectation is a magnet that pulls opportunities, people, and circumstances into alignment. To practice this habit effectively, clarity is essential. Do not just vaguely imagine success or happiness. Picture the specific version of yourself you want to embody. How do you stand when you are confident? How do you breathe when you are healthy and strong? What do your mornings look like when you are living with purpose? The more detailed the vision, the more powerful the rehearsal. And remember, it is not about fantasizing in a way that feels distant. It is about embodying the state of being in that vision as if it is already here. Hold the vision until your body begins to feel elevated emotions such as joy, gratitude, inspiration, or love. This emotional signature is what tells the subconscious that the vision is real. If you can feel the emotion of your desired future before it happens, you are no longer waiting for life to give it to you. You are generating it yourself. Repetition is the key. The brain will not change after a single visualization. Just as muscles strengthen through consistent exercise, the circuits of the brain strengthen through consistent rehearsal. Each time you visualize, you are laying down another layer of the future self. With time, those layers build a strong foundation, and eventually, the vision is not something you practice. It becomes who you are. This is when synchronicities begin to appear in your life, when opportunities show up unexpectedly, when the right people cross your path. It is not magic, it is alignment. The outer world begins to organize itself to match the inner world you have consistently rehearsed. The habit of visualization is not wishful thinking. It is the deliberate act of training your brain and body to believe in a reality that has not yet manifested physically, but exists in potential. When you practice it daily, you are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are no longer living in reaction to the environment. You are becoming a conscious creator, rehearsing your future into being until it unfolds before you. The fourth daily habit that will make you unstoppable is the habit of daily presence. Human beings spend most of their lives either replaying the past or projecting into the future. They wake up and immediately think about yesterday, about what went wrong, about the conversations they had, about the problems that linger. Or they leap into the future, worrying about what might go wrong, anticipating stress, imagining outcomes that haven't even happened. Both states rob them of the only real moment that exists, the present. Presence is the key that unlocks freedom, clarity, and true power. Without it, you live as a prisoner of memory and anticipation. With it, you begin to live consciously instead of mechanically. The mind has been trained to wander. It drifts into stories, judgments, fears, and assumptions, and each time it does, the body responds as if those thoughts are real. When you think about a painful memory, your body relives the stress of it in the present moment. When you imagine a future disaster, your body responds with fear, as though it is happening right now. This cycle creates unnecessary suffering and keeps you chained to what has already been, or to what might never come. The habit of daily presence interrupts this cycle. It pulls you out of the illusion of time and anchors you into the reality of now. And in the now, you are free. In the now, you have choice. In the now, you are no longer the victim of your past or the slave of your future. You are the creator. To practice presence, you must begin with awareness of your breath. The breath is always happening in the present moment. It cannot be remembered or anticipated, it can only be experienced. By focusing on the breath, you bring the wandering mind back into alignment with the body. As you inhale deeply and exhale slowly, you become grounded in the present. Your nervous system calms, your heart steadies, and your awareness expands. This practice may seem simple, but it is profoundly powerful. Each time you return to the breath, you are training your mind to stay here, to stay aware, to stay alive in this moment. Over time, presence becomes your natural state rather than something you occasionally practice. Daily presence also means paying attention to your environment with fresh eyes. Most people see the world not as it is, but as their memory projects it to be. They walk through the same rooms, the same streets, the same routines, barely noticing anything new. Their mind has labeled everything as familiar, so they stop truly seeing. But when you live in presence, you see life as if for the first time. You notice the colors in the sky, the textures of the ground, the subtleties in people's expressions. This heightened awareness awakens a sense of wonder, and wonder is the opposite of autopilot. When you live in wonder, you are open to possibility, and possibility is the doorway to transformation. The practice of presence is not about ignoring the past or future. It is about no longer being consumed by them. Yes, you can learn from the past and plan for the future, but you must not live there. If you are always mentally elsewhere, you miss the only place where change and creation are possible. The present moment is where the body and mind can synchronize. It is where you can choose different thoughts, different emotions, and different actions. It is where you can align your energy with the future you are rehearsing. Without presence, your old programs run automatically. With presence, you catch them in action, and in that awareness lies the power to change. When you commit to the habit of daily presence, you also change your relationship with stress. Stress is often the result of being mentally absent from the now. It is worrying about what might happen or reliving what already happened. But when you are fully present, stress loses its grip. You realize that in this moment, right here, you are safe, you are breathing, you are alive. This realization resets the body and brings it back to balance. Each day, practice grounding yourself in the moment, especially when you feel overwhelmed. Pause, breathe, observe, and anchor. This is how you regain control over your inner state, regardless of what is happening around you. Presence also deepens your relationships. When you are truly present with another human being, you are not distracted by your phone, by your worries, or by your rehearsed responses. You are there, fully listening, fully seeing, fully connecting. People feel this immediately because presence is rare. Most conversations are just two minds drifting in and out of past and future. But when you offer presence, you offer the most valuable gift of all, your undivided awareness. This not only transforms your relationships, but also transforms your sense of self. You begin to experience yourself not as a collection of memories or projections, but as pure awareness itself. The more you practice daily presence, the more you realize that the now is not empty, it is abundant. The mind fears silence because it believes nothing is happening, but in truth, everything is happening. In presence, creativity flows, intuition awakens, and inspiration arises. You begin to sense guidance, synchronicities, and insights that you could never access while trapped in mental noise. This is why so many breakthroughs come in moments of stillness. Presence is the state in which the infinite can reach you. And when you cultivate it daily, you become aligned with forces far greater than your limited identity. The fifth daily habit that will make you unstoppable is the habit of energy alignment. Everything in existence is energy, vibrating at different frequencies. Your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions, all of them carry an energetic signature that radiates outward into the field around you. This means you are never just existing, you are constantly broadcasting. The state you live in is the signal you send, and that signal determines the experiences, people, and opportunities that are drawn to you. Most people live their lives unaware of this truth. They allow stress, fear, anger, or doubt to dictate their energy, and then they wonder why life keeps delivering the same difficult circumstances. The universe is not punishing them. It is simply responding to the frequency they continually emit. The habit of energy alignment is about waking up each day and deliberately tuning your inner state to the energy of the future you want to create. When you wake in the morning, your energy is neutral, like a blank canvas. In those first moments, you have a choice. Will you tune your energy to the old familiar frequencies of stress, worry, or scarcity, or will you align it with elevated emotions like joy, gratitude, and inspiration? The body naturally wants to return to the emotions it has memorized, and if you have lived in survival for years, your body may crave stress as if it were fuel. But you are not bound to that state. By using your mind and intention, you can begin to elevate your inner frequency. The first step is awareness. Notice the moment you feel yourself slipping into old emotional patterns. Do not judge them, but recognize them as the past trying to reclaim you. Then, with deliberate focus, begin generating the emotion of the future you desire. If the future you want is abundant, feel abundance now. If the future you want is filled with love, practice radiating love now. If the future you want is free, cultivate the emotion of freedom now. Energy alignment is not only about feeling elevated emotions, but about sustaining them long enough that they become your natural vibration. Many people attempt to change their state for a few minutes in the morning, but then lose it as soon as they face challenges during the day. True alignment requires practice. It means holding on to your elevated state, even when the external world tries to pull you back into the old self. This is not easy at first because the environment often reflects your past identity. People around you may expect the old version of you. Circumstances may mirror your old frequency. But if you remain committed, your persistence will shift the field. The outer world will begin to reorganize itself to match your inner state. This is the unseen power of alignment. It changes not only how you feel, but also how reality responds to you. The body is a powerful instrument in this practice. Your heart, in particular, generates the strongest electromagnetic field in your body, far greater than the brain. When you generate elevated emotions like gratitude, love, or joy, your heart field expands, synchronizing with the brain and radiating coherence throughout the body. In this state of coherence, your energy becomes organized and powerful. You are no longer leaking energy through stress or scattered emotions. You are centered, focused, and strong. This coherence is measurable, and it has profound effects on both your health and your external circumstances. By practicing daily alignment, you are not only raising your energy, but also creating the conditions for healing, resilience, and synchronicity. Another aspect of energy alignment is intention. Energy follows intention, which means the clarity of your focus directs the flow of your energy. If you wake up and focus on problems, your energy is drawn into the frequency of those problems. But if you wake up and focus on possibilities, on who you want to become, on the future you are rehearsing, your energy flows into those directions. The universe does not respond to vague wishes. It responds to clear, consistent frequencies. That is why it is vital each day to set an intention, to declare with certainty the energy you are choosing to embody. When your intention and your emotion are aligned, your signal becomes powerful and coherent energy is magnetic. The habit of energy alignment also requires self-discipline. You cannot expect to elevate your energy once and have it remain that way forever. The old patterns of thought and emotion will try to return because they are familiar. But every time you catch yourself slipping into those patterns and choose again to align with elevated energy, you weaken the hold of the old self and strengthen the power of the new self. This is how transformation occurs, not through force but through repeated alignment. Eventually, the elevated state becomes more familiar than the old one, and you naturally gravitate toward it without effort. At that point, you are no longer chasing energy. You are living as energy. The effects of this habit ripple far beyond your personal experience. When you align your energy each day, you affect everyone around you. People can feel your coherence, your presence, your elevated state, even if they cannot explain it. You inspire them to raise their own energy simply by being in your field. In this way, your personal alignment becomes a service to others, a silent influence that uplifts and awakens. The more consistently you embody this elevated state, the more you contribute to shifting not only your life, but also the collective field. This is the hidden power of energy alignment. It is not just personal transformation, but collective transformation. Every day, you are given a choice. You can either wake up and repeat the same patterns of yesterday, or you can consciously step into a new identity and a new future. The habits you practice are not small actions. They are the building blocks of your destiny. By reprogramming your mind, you break free from the limitations of old thoughts. By mastering your emotions, you liberate yourself from being ruled by the chemistry of survival. By practicing visualization, you teach your brain and body to believe in a reality before it arrives. By cultivating daily presence, you anchor yourself in the only moment where change and creation can occur. By aligning your energy, you send a coherent signal into the field that draws opportunities, synchronicities, and transformations toward you. Greatness does not belong to a chosen few. It belongs to those who choose, moment by moment, to rise above the familiar self and embody the version of themselves they are destined to become. These habits are not about adding tasks to your day. They are about transforming the way you exist in the world. When practiced consistently, they dismantle the old identity and allow a new one to emerge. One that is limitless, powerful, and unstoppable. The future you dream of is not waiting somewhere out there in time. It is waiting within you, in the choices you make each day, in the states you rehearse, in the energy you radiate. If you commit to living these habits, you will no longer just wish for change. You will embody it. And when you embody it, the world cannot help but respond. You will not just live a life of survival, you will live a life of creation. You will not just exist, you will become unstoppable.